Greetings. I'm Evan Swenson. I'm an author and a book publisher. I'm also a member of Author Masterminds, sponsors of Readers and Writers Book Club. Welcome to Readers and Writers Book Club. This is the worldwide online general membership meeting of Readers and Writers Book Club. I'm Evan Swenson. Rapidly I'm an becoming the book club destination for all readers of good books. Thanks for being here. Today's membership is represented online by Author Mastermind members and other book club members participating on Facebook Live. I hope you'll find every reader is a friend and every author is approachable. Once again, welcome to Readers and Writers Book Club. Of course, we'll be conversing about books, authors, writing, and the magic and miracle of reading. And we'll have some fun as we award Readers and Writers Book Club branded door prizes available to all book club members. Okay, let's meet today's co-hosts. Okay, let's meet today's co-hosts. This is going to be fun. We got I think it's kind of an exciting meeting coming up worldwide. And evidence that we're going to have a guest of James, and I won't even try to say his last name. It's not a last name. It's a click, click, click. We'll ask James later about that. But James, you just hold on. We're going to introduce you in a moment. First, let's talk about our co-hosts. Marianne Paul, Victoria Hardesty is here, and also Steve Levi is helping out today. Marianne is listening and watching for your comments over on YouTube channel. And I trust, Marianne, that we're alive and well on YouTube.
We are, Evan.
How about
alive
that?
And well.
Oh, that's great. So let's start from the other end this time. Steve, let's introduce you, who you are, what you are. You're the master of the impossible crime. That means that you're a crook, is it? That you steal things? What is that?
No, the master of the impossible crime. What I do is my detective concentrates on impossible crimes. The detective is hit with crimes that no one can explain. For instance, he is called up to help an investigation where a Greyhound bus with 10 hostages, bank robbers, and $10 million in cash stolen from a San Francisco bank is put in a Greyhound bus. The Greyhound bus drives out onto the Golden Gate Bridge and vanishes. And so now the detective has to figure out how you can make a Greyhound bus disappear off the Golden Gate Bridge. It's a great book, and you can buy it on authormasterminds.com.
All right, Steve. You ask Steve anytime you have a question to Steve, and he gets the commercial in. Okay. Victoria Hardesty, who are you? What you're representing Author Mastermind members here today, as well as Steve.
Right. I am the author of Action and Adventure with Arabian Horses. We have a series of books about Arabian horses that were geared for about the same audience Walter Farley geared his for back in the 1940s and 50s. Ours are just a little updated, and they're fun stories that are good for young people and old people alike.
All right. Well, thanks, Victoria. We're pleased that you're here today. And Marianne Paul, America's Lady of Supernatural Thrillers. Did I have that right?
You do, Evan. Sorry, I was over on the other. Yeah, I was over on the live. Like, yes, I am America's Lady of Supernatural Thrillers. At least that's what my publisher, says. And I believe I am. And I write, well, Steve doesn't like what I write because he says they're scary and they will keep you up at night. So don't read them before bedtime. Yeah. But I do write spiritual warfare, which in and of itself is scary.
Yeah. Marianne, thank you for being here and helping out. Boy, we appreciate that. We're going to introduce James in a few more minutes, but first, let's do a little housekeeping things. And you author mastermind members that are here, help out your thoughts, ideas as we talk about it. The first thing that we want to talk about is door prizes today. And we're going to have door prizes. I don't know how many, 5 or 6, whatever it takes. So we'll give some branded, as we said in the open, Readers and Writers Book Club t-shirts and string packs. And those string packs are really neat. I have a couple of those, and we use them when we go to just walk over to the store or walk in someplace, the post office. Boy, it's handy to just have that on. You don't even know it. And I'm really surprised at how functional it is. Anyway, that's the commercial on that. So here's the deal. If you would like to be entered in the door prize raffle, here's how to do it. First, get your pencil out and write down on this piece of paper. And so the 4 of you that are talking are also eligible. So get your piece of paper out and write down this email address. Follow instructions so that the folks home can see you that you're doing that and you're setting the proper example, okay? So you want to send an email to authors@readersandwritersbookclub.com. Spell out and. So it's authors@readersandwritersbookclub.com. And we'll enter you in the raffle, and then we can got your email address, so then we can communicate with you, and then we'll get your mailing address so we can send your prize to you. Any questions about that from anyone here?
Special subject line maybe or not?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just Readers and Writers, lottery, t-shirt, string. And if you want a t-shirt, maybe you ought to say what size you want to, because we have a variety of sizes. Yeah, good idea, Marianne. Thank you. Anything else? Victoria, Steve?
No, that's fine. And if you put in that you want one of my books and you win, you write that and I will send you an autographed book.
Really? Did you hear that?
I did.
Oh, that's something new.
Well, if he's going to do it, then we can all do it.
Yeah. He's going to do it.
Yeah.
And all of us are going to do it.
Okay. So that puts a lot more heat on the visitor. But so if you want a book, put that in there and we'll lead
your
on the
author
authors to do that. That'd be good.
You got 5 to choose from here.
Yeah.
Yep, you got 5 authors to choose from here.
Yeah. No, I didn't put my free book out.
Okay.
No,
4.5.
no. My mother taught me that don't ever give it away free. So anyway, now we'll let the author mastermind members, Marianne, Victoria, and Steve Levi be those. So if you want to win a prize, t-shirt, and or a string pack, and want to be included and get a free book from one of the authors, tell us what size t-shirt you want. If you want a t-shirt, if you want a string pack, just put down string pack. And if you want a book, I just put down Marianne book, Victoria book, Steve book, and include that in the email, and we'll see that happens. So that's one thing.
James' book. Oh, that's true. Well, James would be a different issue, wouldn't he?
We're not talking to James. James is really not even here yet. Actually, under other circumstances, James would be in the green room.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
James is in the green room for now.
Well, can you explain something, Evan? What is a string pack?
What is a string pack?
I don't know. Maybe there's other people here that don't know what it is.
Okay, well, you didn't look at the open very close then, Victoria, because we had a nice picture of that in there.
We did?
I wonder if I could find that really quick, and we could show that. See, I didn't anticipate that question, and so that makes it much harder to do. Okay, so string pack. I'll see if I can find that really quick. Okay, I located the string pack. Okay, so this is magic. Can you see that, Victoria?
Got it. Okay. Got it.
So they got that nice logo on the back. And so we're really glad to give those away, because then when you go someplace, people ask, you know, what's the Readers and Writers Book Club? And then you'll tell them, and, you know, then they'll subscribe. And they can subscribe to Readers and Writers Book Club and receive 50% discount on their all of their book purchases, of course. And it's $3 a month, or $29 a year, or $100 for 5 years. They can subscribe. Okay, so we'll stop that and come back here. So was that okay, Victoria?
Yep, that explained
Okay.
it. I didn't, duh.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, true. Must be the California air.
Yeah. Okay, and then any other questions about the door prizes? Again, to clarify that I got it right, I'm going to ask Steve a question, because he received instructions, and we'll see how the impossible crime, what is it, the master of impossible crime does on instructions. Steve, give us the address to send your email to if you want to win a prize.
It's authors at readersandwritersbookclub.com with the AND spelled out.
Is that right, Victoria?
That's right. And you need to put in the comment line or the subject line that it's a door prize request for a shirt or a string pack or a book.
Yeah, just something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't leave it blank. So if you approve of that, Marianne, we'll go on to the next item. That's the right address. We're okay.
We're good.
Okay.
I also want you to know that Carl Nielsen wants everyone to know that string packs are very popular in South American mountains. So just saying.
Oh, really? I don't doubt it. Good. And then the other thing is on the 31st of May, a significant thing happens with Readers and Writers Book Club group on Facebook. And we've been there for some time. We have more than 5,000 members of that group. But because of circumstances with Facebook and others, we've determined that it's in our best interest of the club to close that and start a new Facebook group. And so that's exactly what's going to happen. The new Facebook group page is up and running. And I know that everyone has had opportunity to go over there and join the new group. And so I'm not even going to put out the address of that new group. It's a big, long one anyway, and I'd forget it. But so look at your emails that you received. Go to the Facebook group right now while it's still up, that's running, and click on the new group address and go over there and register so that we can continue you being a part of our group. Because on the 31st of May, it goes away, and then the new one will be, it's active now, but it'll continue to be active then. The only one that's active on the 1st of June. So please do that so that you can be a part of the conversation. We really want that. So anything about that you have a question or comment about?
No, but I want you to know Rebecca Wetzler says she's liking seeing this on YouTube.
Oh, that's good. That's nice. Yeah.
Carl also said he's really glad he's here, and he's excited to see and hear the hosts and the guest, James, and I'm not saying your last name. There you go.
Well, why don't we just introduce James now? And James, you are billed as, and we want to talk with you about that. You are known as the new voice of Africa. And you're also an author. You've published what, 2 books, 3 books?
Three
Books.
and counting.
And counting.
There you go.
James, I'll take a minute and just introduce yourself and let us get to know you just a little bit better. We want to know about your family, what your pursuits in life are, and just let us know a little bit about it.
So thank you very much, Evan. I am James, Marianne Paul's favorite name. That is my family name. So I am the new voice of Africa, as Evan has said. I am also a charter member of the Author Masterminds. He mustn't forget that. That is my basis. That is where my roots are. So I was born in Pretoria, Pretoria City in Gauteng province in South Africa. But I grew up in a village called KwaMavuso under Chief Mavuso. Those times we had chiefs and kings. I am a student priest. We call those seminarians for the Catholic Church. So I am a seminarian, I'm a student priest. I am an author of 3 books and counting. As Steve Levi would like to say, we borrow from others' ideas and then we modify those ideas to be better and super readable. So that's it for me. I am the new voice of Africa, James Begley.
Boy, I would give anything if we could just have a big contest on James' last name. And we just get everybody on YouTube could just somehow say James' last name like he did.
Well, the problem
You'll be surprised. Not every South African can say it even either.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
well, we might have a problem here because it's very similar to the sound you give a horse when you want him to trot.
Maybe that's what James's mother had in mind when she named him.
Yes,
He was just saying, "Get up, James, go!" You know. And,
No. Actually, I mean, maybe Steve would know about this. Unfortunately, Kyle is not here with us. Gregor is not a name on its own. It derives from a name, Gregor, which means to educate. So you might have heard about the Khoi and the San people, famously known today as Khoi San people, who were the first people to be discovered in South Africa, or rather in Southern Africa. So they used a lot of clicks. My tribe was the first to encounter with those people. So we took a lot of clicks from them. So that's why now my surname or my family name is Gregor. It's just a click from the word Gregor, which literally means to educate. So in other words, I am an educator.
You've educated us, James, without a question. But we still can't say your last name. But we're just grateful that it's James. We can pronounce that one. And we know who you are, and we appreciate you being here. Earlier today, when I was talking with James and other Author Mastermind members and inviting them to come to this interview with James today, this conversation, I told them that we have a picture of James, that we've got a bunch of people levitating. No, so Marianne and Victoria and Steve, you want to see a bunch of Africans levitating?
Yeah,
okay.
I really do.
Absolutely.
There it is.
Well,
So how did you get all of those people to follow you, James? To get it all off the ground at the same time?
It's only in the count of 3 even. You must have faith when you do this kind of things. You must have faith.
Well, there's James in the center, not dressed for formal interview like he is today in this conversation, but it looks like you guys are just having fun.
Yeah, but can you see what is on my chest there?
Yeah, it says, I know what it is, but no one else.
Okay.
President?
You've got it right.
What did it say?
President James, the new voice of Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's the occasion here? You just as a party, or what is it, James?
Actually, we had a meeting with the members of the New Voice of Africa. These are the members of the New Voice of Africa, the executive members. So we were kind of discussing the year plan for 2021, what we should do for the people, especially for the learners at schools. We were pushing the motive to get people to school. We try to assist others to have a kind of internet at home, as coronavirus had done some devastating things in our communities. So we were trying to discuss and trying to kind of enrich to them how we can, as the New Voice of Africa, assist to go back to education and to go back to classroom. So it is to bring people together. That's the motive behind the picture or photo, to educate each other about our cultures, about our worldviews, about our experiences, about our writings. And I think we are doing exactly that here at the Author Masterminds. And if we are not doing that, then I am to be blamed, because I'm the president of the New Voice of Africa. And it is my duty and my responsibility to do so, to unite people, regardless of race, color, language, and all that. So here we show this love as the New Voice of Africa, trying to spread the love to other places around the world, to kind of unite the people, to bring back the globe. If a globe is broken, it's difficult to put it together. It's impossible, actually. So the New Voice of Africa stands as the core of the globe, to unite the people of the globe.
James, thank you. Now, I know that, James, you haven't always been an author. And I know that a little bit about you, but I think that Marianne and Victoria, Steve, you're going to be surprised about where James really got his influence that helped him develop his writing. So, James, tell us about this photograph.
Rightly said, even Steve, Victoria, and Mary, they don't know this part of me, of James Gregory. In life, we get motivated through different experiences in different platforms in life. But I'm proud to say that I was an actor, which I think it's something that I'm going to do in the future as well. A stage play, it's something I enjoyed as a little boy. It's something I enjoyed at school. It's something I enjoyed in my community. So as a young actor, theater life has taught me to write a lot, to read a lot, but most importantly, Marianne, to demonstrate what you have written or what you have read to practical and real life. So I grew up wanting nothing but to tell stories of my own and stories of other people that they have experienced or that they have kind of encountered. I always wondered when someone is just quiet in the corner, isolated from other people, what is really happening in their minds? And I always knew that there is a story behind them. And, it's up to the reader, it's up to the writer to enrich to those stories of other people. So theater life taught me to not to take for granted anybody I come across with, but to take them seriously and try to interpret their experience, their stories, and their life behind.
James, thank you. If any of you Author Mastermind co-hosts have any questions or anything of James, jump right in and or comments.
Well, I got several comments. So
Okay.
two of from Carl. He's asking, I thought you said this, but clarifying. He asks, James, are the two cliques Zosa, Zulu, or Khoisan?
It's okay. It's Xhosa, spelled as XHOSA. That's XHOSA.
Got it.
That is where I'm from. It's not that different from Zulu. I know Carl is a Zulu, is an American Zulu. He knows Zulu better than I do, but Zulu and Xhosa are interlinked. If you can speak Zulu, you sure can understand my language.
Okay, and his next question was, are you having success with other tribes, including the white tribe? I don't know anything about a white tribe, but I bet you do.
Yeah, that's I've got that right. Yes, I mean, one of the aims or visions of the New Voice of Africa is, as I said in the beginning, is to unite the people, regardless of tribe, regardless of language, regardless of race. So in South Africa, we call ourselves a rainbow nation, because we might, maybe the majority might be Black, but we don't speak the same language. We have actually about 12 official languages in South Africa, including sign language. So it is at times difficult for South Africans alone to interconnect and communicate to each other because the language is not the same. So what Kyle is actually asking is that how do we come together as South Africans, white, Black, different tribes and all that? We have a good relation and a relationship, because if even in the seminar where I am at the moment, all the tribes in South Africa, in fact, in Southern Africa, are represented. So we try to learn each other's languages, each other's cultures, each other's background. So we try to have that South Africanness in us to unite as a people.
Somebody just asked a good question. First, Valerie Winans said, the stage play is storytelling in another form. And she was just saying, good for you, because that truly is. It is. And then someone I don't know, who is RPR52, asked, James, have you written any plays?
Yes, I have a number of plays, even before I written any book. But unfortunately, I haven't published any of those plays. It was my aim to publish at least one this year, before November or so. So maybe he may ask what play is that? It's a play on gender-based violence. You know, the kind of mentality that men abused women and children in our society, or societies or communities. So the play is trying to address that we should unite and we should not distinguish or differentiate or separate women from men. But what we should do is to unite and love our mothers, our sisters, and every woman we meet in or we come across with. You know, there's a saying in Africa that it's a kind of a proverb with a question mark: why women run holding their breast. And the moral of the story, or the explanation of the proverb, is that when a woman runs holding their breast, it's because they are holding life, not to fall. So that is the moral behind.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
That's beautiful.
That's nice, James. Thank you. James, we all have something in common in the last year or so. And of course, that's been the pandemic. in your country and in your life, the things that you're doing, what have you learned from the pandemic?
Even I see the pandemic, what we suffer from now, as what we could have used to unite the world. Because at once, in whatever years ago, we have suffered from the same, or rather a common enemy as a people, which we should have used to unite, not to separate people or discriminate people, but as peoples of the world to come together and fight the same or the common enemy. So I think we have missed a great opportunity. And I do hope that authors like Robin Barfield would write and reflect on such a matter to tell the story on how we have missed to use the coronavirus pandemic to unite us as a globe, as people from different continents. You get stories and comments when you watch news or read newspapers that we blame this and that to about the pandemic or something. But you look at the globe today, we all suffer from the same enemy. We all suffer from the common evil thing that has changed our lives. I don't want to say completely, because that is not true. I believe that there is life after COVID-19, and only if we have hope and we pray hard to God Almighty that this thing will come to an end. So coronavirus has taught me that it was an opportunity to come together as a people, to face the reality, to exorcise the demon, as in the church would say.
Okay. James, thank you. You sent me a photograph that I don't know why you sent it to me. But I welcome the fact that you did send it, because judging from the things I know about you, you're going to tell us about this and we're going to say, oh, of course. Yeah, that's right. So why did you send me this photograph, James?
That's a good question. Of
course, it's a good question, James. I asked it.
I'm almost tempted even to give Mary Ann to answer this for me, but this represents to me the ultimate goal behind everything that we do. In this case, it will be the ultimate goal behind my writing. And maybe Mary Ann can say the same thing about her own writing. Victoria may say something about her own writing, and Steve may say something about his own writing. So we all, as authors, have a goal behind our writings. And one of those goals is to get our writings to the readers. And it doesn't matter where they come from, it doesn't matter what they are made of, but the ultimate goal, it's just like a person who has graduated with his or her PhD. Those people can no longer or further study their studies on that field. So if one motivates, or rather, if I can say or put it this way, if no one motivates you, motivate yourself. Sometimes even motivational speakers need to be motivated themselves. So when that opportunity is not there, because it's not always there for everybody, do it yourself. So the ultimate goal behind my writing now as James Kaipa, the New Voice of Africa, is to get the message to the peoples of the world out there. As we often say to people who have often, or rather obtain doctoral degrees, they can no longer further their studies on that particular field. So the moral of the story, or the moral of the idea, is that, so is my aim, my aim as the king in my genre is to share my genre with the people of other genres, even those who belong to the same genre. So in other words, as the king in my genre, I want to master it such that I cannot master it any better.
James, you're a remarkable young man, and we appreciate you being here. When you start a story, when you start your writing, how do you begin? How do you start?
You know, when I believe even you cannot start anything if you don't read. You cannot write anything if you don't read. You cannot write anything if you are not open to listen to other people's stories, experiences. You know, if you are always kind of defensive when people try to share their own worldviews to you, you will never write anything, my friend. I promise you. So for me, to start writing is to listen to people converse, and that is the ultimate goal behind writing. You know, sometimes I even leave my car behind and take a public transport just to hear people converse about a particular thing: coronavirus, books, schools, government, corruption, and all that. And you get ideas from those people, and that's how I wrote my plays, and that's how I created my characters in the plays, to listen to people arguing about the same thing differently. So I have realized that now that I am an experienced author, that you'll never write a book unless you start writing, unless you start writing. So as long as the pen is on your hand, but not is not longer is not actually in your hand, but on the book, you won't write. One story should lead to the other. One sentence should lead to the other, and one message should lead to the other. And if you don't know how to write, read, read, and read.
James,
I have several questions
to me. You said that you started writing right here with a blank page.
Yes. Blank page.
now all authors start with a blank page, but all authors experience, I put the other thing ahead of this one, but all authors have writer's block. Now, James, sure. How do you get past writer's block?
You know, if an author doesn't experience a writer's block, then I have a question mark to those authors, because time and again you should have a writer's block. But you know, I have one principle, even just one principle. When this comes, when writer's block comes, read a lot. Read to an extent that you will never write anything. Try and get to know what is your genre, you know, and be in love with your books, be in love with your genre, be attached to your genre. I think one thing as authors, maybe with as both authors and readers, we miss is that we lose the taste and touch of our own genres. Maybe through the influence of our friends or whoever. Stick to your genre, love your genre, read other people's genre, of course, but make sure that you have identified your genre. Don't take my genre because you are my friend, or take Steve Levi's genre or Victoria's or Mary's. Make sure you have your genre, but it doesn't mean that you cannot read Steve Levi's genre, Marianne Paul's genre, or Victoria's genre, but stick to your genre. When you experience as the author or writer an author's block, read a lot. A library should be the favorite room for yourself.
Is that why you sent this photograph to
Oh,
me.
yes, of course. Oh,
Yeah,
yes, of
yeah.
course. The love of books.
Read.
The love of books.
Yeah, yeah. You love books, don't you?
You know, I'm even tempted to have a kind of a single bed somewhere in the corner in each library I come across with. Books are something else even, you know. Library is my favorite room. At times I am tempted to bring my bed to have a little corner of mine somewhere there. When I fall asleep, I just I don't get out of the library, I just sleep there. You know, library is a special room. But I want to say books are very important. I'm glad that there are author masterminds here who might agree with me. Books are very important, especially in our times. You know, books are very good because through books you can travel the world and be in one place where you have never been before, just because of you have read a book. You can be in Africa, I can be in America just by reading Mary Ann Paul books or Victoria's books. You can travel the world and understand the culture, the costume, the experience of the writer just because you have read. You know, when you read, you actually understand an author thinking. That's what you do when you read. You understand the author or the writer thinking. At the moment, the New Voice of Africa, chaired by me, is working on updating one of the libraries of one of our schools, especially in the villages where the situation is very devastating. So the idea behind is that the library, in fact, most of those libraries are outdated. In other words, they don't serve their purpose to the learners. They are not aligned with the current syllabus, what the learners are learning at school. So those books are actually useless for those learners. They might be useful for people like me who are kind of enjoying reading, whatever. But for the learners who want to do their assignments, researches, and all that, they are literally useless. So we are trying to kind of update and upgrade those libraries for the learners of our own. But let me note this, even, you know, one thing I like about books is bibliosma, which is the smell of books. Sometimes you don't have to read a book, just smell it. You know, even if you have, maybe Victoria may agree with me, even if you have a soft copy of a book, like I buy Mary Ann Paul's book online, but I would like Mary Ann to sign a book to me, even if I've read it, but just to have it, just to have the touch, just to have the taste, just to have the smell. Bibliosma.
You know, James, I'll bet you that any author in the world could hear what you just said. They would run up, shake your hand, hug you. They'd say, "You are so right on."
You are.
Let's go to Mary Ann Paul. And have we got anything?
We got several questions over here, Evan. I'm going, okay, where do we start? Valerie asks, are you having success in establishing basis for understanding, like things you all agree on? I believe she's talking about.
I think it's a follow-up question on what Kyle was. Yes, of course. I mean, it's not easy, Mary. You know, you might recall that about 26 years ago, South Africa was under the apartheid regime, where the natives were kind of oppressed by the government, the then government. So it's a process that we all need to take an initiative to. It's not a one-day tournament. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of conversation, a lot of encounter, a lot of learning as well. You know, so yes, we have come to the basis of the idea on what we all want to do. You know, in most probably in all my books, I've written a statement that we all need to take an initiative to make a better Africa. Not only South Africa, but the continent at large, to make a better Africa. One of the things I'm saying is that the Africa that I want, Mary, may not be the Africa that someone else wants. So if we don't converse about that, we will come to conflict, and that conflict would lead to another and another and another. But if we come together like we do now and discuss the Africa that we all want, then we will be avoiding those conflicts.
Good answer.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. James, this is from Carl. If it's not an intrusion, he's asking, would you please tell us about being a seminarian?
Sure. I think it's a follow-up question on what Evan wanted to ask. You know, being a seminarian, being an author, being an actor, and all that. You know, maybe all of you here know now that a Catholic priest doesn't get married. We live a celibate life. We live in not an isolation life, but in a celibate life. In other words, we are not allowed to get married or to kind of get to, we don't entertain our kind of desires, human desires. But being a seminarian, for me, and the writer and the actor and all that, is, you know, I see arts as the basis of bringing social cohesion to the people. And I'm quite certain that we will never reach that social cohesion without arts, but through arts. You know, I always admire the artist. We might praise the government, we might praise leaders, whatever, but the artists have the most powerful tool to bring people together. So for me to be a seminarian and the author and all that is actually to try and bring a new way of preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, the gospel of God himself to the people, the gospel of bringing peoples together. So we must be, as artists now, we must be creative to preach the gospel using other means, not to stand behind the podium and preach what is written in front of you, but use other means to enrich the people. Not everybody goes to church, in case you didn't know. Not everybody believes in God or Jesus Christ. But if you write something and you publish it and it goes all over the world, the chances are that everybody is going to get that message.
James, I guess that you would subscribe to the idea that someone said, and I'll paraphrase it just a little bit, and they said, I don't want to write the laws, I just want to write the books.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. That would be a chapter in my book, my next book.
Okay, so next, Rich is who I figured out RPR 52 is. He asks, have you studied in Rome?
No, not yet. Not yet. I think that would be the best answer. Not yet. But the chances are, though.
Okay. We're going to have to move on, Marianne. Just kind of summarize those questions and hold them. See if we have time, but we need to find out about Africa Day. James, talk to us about Africa Day. And this looks like maybe your twin brother. You wouldn't dress up like this, would you?
Victoria, please come to my aid. It's actually me, even.
Yeah.
Isn't a nice picture of me? Is it not,
It's,
Mary?
it is. It's a wonderful photo of you.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So it's yesterday in South Africa now. I believe in your side it's still the 25th of May.
Yes, it's still the 25th.
On my side, it's the 26th now, early hours of the 26th of May. But yesterday I wore like this to commemorate the Africa Day. So Africa Day, for those who would like to learn, is on the 25th May 1963, the first African organization of Africa Unity, shortened as OAU, was formed in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So early to yesterday, I gave a public lecture. In fact, I gave 2 public lectures to commemorate the region of Ethiopia as a country that was never colonized according to history. So history entails that yesterday in our side, today in your side, Ethiopia marks the 125th anniversary of the Battle of Adwa, when the Italians came to Ethiopia to try and take over the region. But a couple of months later, that was in 1896, Ethiopian armies defeated the Italians and retrieved their land. So that's what I was reflecting on Africa Day. So Africa Day is actually a day that is celebrated from North Africa to South Africa, from east to west. We all share that day as an Africa Day, as a kind of diversity, as a people will come together to discuss on what we have achieved in the past year and what we should achieve in the next year.
Do you, James, is there flag waving and parades? And you said lectures. Is there politicians speaking and those kind of things? Or is it just kind of a silent thing?
As you see, Evan,
yeah.
As you see, this is what is happening throughout Africa. Every country, you know what? Amazing enough, if you come across with someone from another African country and he has their flag or the flag of their country, and you have your own flag of your own country, you exchange the flags. You know. You might end up with a kind of about 10 or maybe 20, even 100 flags, but you exchange that flag with whoever you come across with. As long as they have a flag in their hand, you take it from them and you give that, even if it's not your flag or your country's flag, but you just take it. Sometimes you can just confiscate it. If they don't want to give it to you, just confiscate it and run away.
In some circles, that's called stealing, James.
Well, it all differs continent to continent.
Yeah. Well, I just have one more thing I want to talk about. But before we do, I just want to remind everyone the 2 things we talked about earlier. And that is, if you want to join the lottery, just send us an email. Victoria is going to tell us what the email address is so that you can go there. Just send us an email, say you'd like to participate in the lottery, and you'd like a t-shirt or a string pack. And then of course, the generosity of the author mastermind members, Marianne Paul and Victoria and Steve Levi, says they will throw an autographed book in if you win the prize. So we want to do that. And then the last thing is that we want to be sure that everyone comes to the new website, the new Readers and Writers Book Club Facebook page, because the old one's going to go away. Facebook group, and the old one's going to go away. So Victoria, before we ask James for his closing remarks, tell us the address, the people, so that they'll know where to send the email so that they can win the prize. And then we'll have their email address so we can contact them and get their mailing address and send them their prize and their book or whatever it is. So Victoria, where should they send the email?
They should send the email to authors, AUTHORS, at readersandwritersbookclub.com. And you spell the and out. It's READERSANDWRITERBOOKCLUB.com. That's a mouthful.
The readers and the author masterminds members that are here today, their stock went up 10 points.
At least they can spell without help.
James, here's the logo of the New Voice of Africa. Tell us about this, and this is about the last thing we're going to be able to talk about today. So just anything you want to say, now is your chance.
So this is my baby, my only son at the moment. I cherish this child, and you know, he is everything to me. So you know, this is the sign to. I'm sure you can see the rails on the sides, on both sides, is to bring the people together like a Wi-Fi. You know, the Wi-Fi attracts the people. You know, this generation now, even when it comes to wherever, the first thing before they even greet is to ask the password of the Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is actually something that brings people together, or maybe we should use the Wi-Fi as something that brings the people together. So the New Voice of Africa, as you can see, the continent of Mother Africa is actually, you know, something that I cherish a lot, something I want to share stories of. As you can see, the slogan or the logo, written, "Let us fight xenophobia, let us fight racism, together, let us change the world." You are muted.
Thank you. This has been a very informative, interesting conversation. I wish that we could just go on, but I suspect that this will lead to another such conversation sometime in the future. James, thanks for being here. Marianne Paul and Victoria Hardesty, Steve Levi, thank you for being here and supporting James in this effort, and other author mastermind members. We also thank those who are on YouTube Live and shared their thoughts with us. I know that there's probably others that would have liked to, but if you'd like, just put an email, send us an email, ask your question, and we'll forward it on to James if you would. So we're going to have to move on. Time has run out. But we will see you next month on the last Tuesday of the month at the same time, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow, the next day in South Africa. But anyway, thank you for being here. But in the meantime, until we see you again, just keep in touch. Thank you very much.